There's a moment in every person's life when they ask themselves, am I doing enough? It's a question that lives quietly behind every project, every exam, every performance review. We chase numbers, applause, recognition, and when we finally get them, it feels good. But only for a moment, then the feeling fades, because results don't fulfill us, the work does. The truth is, results are not goals, they're outcomes. They are what happens when our dedication, discipline, and love for the craft align over time. But when we make results the center of our obsession, we lose sight of what actually creates them. Let me put it simply, you can't control the weather, but you can plant seeds. You can't control how fast they grow, but you can water them every day. That's what getting obsessed with the work really means, doing what you can with what you have right now without needing immediate proof that it's working. Think about the greatest artists, scientists, or athletes you know. They didn't start out chasing medals, likes, or trophies. They chased improvement. They woke up curious, not anxious. They practiced when no one was watching, not for the applause, but because the act itself made them feel alive. Their obsession wasn't with being the best. It was with becoming better. When we shift our focus from outcomes to effort, something powerful happens. We start to enjoy the process. We become more present, more resilient, and far more creative. Because without the pressure of needing immediate results, we start taking risks. We start learning faster. We stop fearing failure, and ironically, that's when the results finally show up, not because we chase them, but because we stopped needing them. So here's the challenge. Wake up tomorrow not asking, what will I achieve today? But instead, how can I give my best to the work in front of me? Do that long enough and you'll notice something remarkable. You won't just become successful, you'll become fulfilled, because real success isn't about reaching the finish line. It's about loving the race. When individuals commit themselves to a task purely for the sake of achieving an external outcome, their motivation often becomes fragile. The moment results do not arrive as expected, enthusiasm fades and self-doubt begins to grow. On the other hand, when the focus shifts toward a meaningful purpose, a deeper why, behind the effort, energy becomes renewable. Purpose acts as an internal engine that does not depend on success or failure for fuel. It keeps people moving forward even when progress is slow or invisible. Purpose transforms work from an obligation into a calling. It changes the way one perceives effort. Instead of seeing hard work as a burden, it becomes an expression of something meaningful. A teacher driven by purpose does not teach merely to finish the syllabus or earn a salary. They teach to shape minds, to ignite curiosity, to help someone believe in themselves. A scientist guided by purpose does not experiment only to publish papers, but to uncover truths that might improve lives. The same applies to an artist, an athlete, or an entrepreneur. The deeper the purpose, the stronger the emotional connection to the work, and the less dependent one becomes on immediate results for validation. When people are result-oriented, they tend to measure their worth through comparison. They look at others' achievements and feel pressured to match or exceed them. This leads to a cycle of constant dissatisfaction. But purpose-oriented individuals measure their progress internally. Their satisfaction comes from alignment, the sense that their daily actions reflect their values and beliefs. They ask themselves not, did I win, but did I stay true to why I started? This mindset cultivates integrity, patience, and emotional stability. Purpose also influences decision-making. When goals are defined only by external results, decisions often become short-term and transactional. A company that focuses solely on quarterly profits might cut corners, neglect innovation, or compromise ethics. In contrast, organizations that are driven by a clear purpose make choices that sustain long-term growth. They invest in people, nurture creativity, and build trust because they understand that outcomes are temporary, but purpose endures. In learning environments, this distinction is especially visible. Students who study for grades may memorize information but forget it soon after. Their engagement fades once the exam is over. Students who study to understand, to explore, or to apply knowledge develop intellectual curiosity that lasts far beyond the classroom. The same applies to professionals who work for promotions versus those who work to make an impact. The latter group continues to grow even when no one is watching because their motivation is self-generated. Purpose also provides resilience in moments of failure. When the only motivation is the result, failure feels like the end of the road. But when there is a purpose behind the effort, failure becomes feedback. It becomes a teacher rather than a threat. People with a strong sense of purpose recover faster because their identity is not tied to one particular outcome. They see setbacks as part of the process that helps them refine their craft and strengthen their character. Another crucial aspect of focusing on purpose is emotional fulfillment. Results can create happiness, but it is temporary a spike that fades once the novelty wears off. Purpose, however, creates sustained satisfaction because it aligns what you do with who you are. It brings coherence between action and identity. This alignment generates a sense of peace and meaning that cannot be achieved through external validation. It answers a fundamental human need, the desire to matter, to contribute, to leave something valuable behind. In creative fields, purpose liberates expression. Artists who chase trends may achieve brief popularity, but artists who create from conviction build timeless work. Their art speaks to people because it carries authenticity. Similarly, innovators who are guided by purpose are not afraid to challenge convention. They take risks not because they seek recognition, but because they believe in the possibility of making something better. This belief sustains them through uncertainty and rejection. Purpose-driven work also strengthens relationships. When leaders operate from purpose, they inspire trust. Teams follow not because they are told to, but because they feel connected to something larger than themselves. Shared purpose creates unity. It turns a group of individuals into a community moving in one direction with collective energy. Results may motivate people temporarily, but shared purpose sustains them through challenges. Focusing on purpose rather than outcome encourages ethical growth. When people care deeply about the why, they are less likely to compromise their values for convenience. They make choices rooted in integrity, knowing that real achievement lies in doing the right thing, not merely in doing the profitable or popular thing. Purpose brings moral clarity, reminding individuals that the journey must be as honorable as the destination. In every discipline, business, art, education, science, or personal development, the same principle holds true. When work is grounded in purpose, excellence becomes natural. Energy no longer comes from external rewards, but from internal conviction. The paradox is that those who work for purpose often end up achieving better results than those who chase results alone. It happens because they operate from a place of passion, authenticity, and persistence. Purpose becomes both the foundation and the fuel, an anchor during uncertainty and a compass during success. Consistency is the bridge between ambition and accomplishment. It transforms dreams into habits and habits into skill. While inspiration might ignite action, only consistency sustains it. Every significant achievement in art, science, business, or personal growth is the result of small, repetitive efforts performed over time. People often underestimate how much progress can be made through steady practice and overestimate what can be achieved in a short burst of effort. Consistency is not glamorous. It is quiet, patient, and demanding. Yet it is the most reliable path to mastery. When individuals commit to consistent work, they learn to value progress over perfection. Perfection is an illusion that keeps many from starting, while consistency invites gradual improvement. A person who writes a single page each day will have a book in a year. A musician who practices for 30 minutes daily will advance faster than one who plays for hours once a week. The rhythm of repetition builds momentum, and momentum transforms potential into performance. Each act, however small, compounds over time. Mastery is not about talent alone, it is about endurance. Talent may offer a head start, but consistency determines the distance one travels. Consider any professional athlete. The secret is not a single break through performance but thousands of hours of disciplined training. Behind every effortless stroke, every flawless routine are days of deliberate repetition. The same holds true for scholars, artists, and entrepreneurs. The mastery people admire in public is the result of consistency practiced in private. Consistency also sharpens focus. When work becomes part of a routine, the mind stops wasting energy on decision, making it simply shows up. This regularity creates stability and structure, allowing individuals to engage deeply with their craft. The daily act of showing up trains the brain to enter a productive state more quickly. Over time, this habit strengthens concentration and enhances creativity. What was once effort becomes flow. Inconsistent effort, by contrast, resets progress. Every time someone stops and starts again, they must rebuild momentum. The energy required to restart is far greater than the energy needed to maintain consistency. This is why small, regular steps are more effective than intense, irregular bursts. Consistency reduces friction. It replaces hesitation with rhythm, and rhythm turns effort into second nature. Consistency also teaches discipline, one of the most valuable qualities in personal development. Discipline is the ability to act according to what matters most, not what feels easiest in the moment. When individuals stay consistent despite boredom, fatigue, or doubt, they build mental resilience. Each time they resist the temptation to quit, they reinforce the habit of perseverance. Over time, this discipline extends beyond work, it shapes character. It becomes a way of living that values persistence over impatience. The relationship between consistency and learning is profound. Every repetition strengthens neural pathways in the brain, making skills more automatic. This process, known as myelination, explains why practice truly does make perfect. Consistency transforms complex tasks into instinctive actions. It is how musicians play without thinking, athletes react without hesitation, and writers express ideas with clarity. Mastery emerges not from occasional effort, but from sustained repetition that refines ability until it becomes intuitive. Consistency also builds trust both internally and externally. Internally, it creates self-trust. Each time a person keeps a promise to themselves to study, to train, to create, they reinforce belief in their own reliability. This belief is empowering. It becomes the foundation of confidence. Externally, consistency builds credibility. Others begin to trust those who show up reliably. Employers trust consistent workers. Audiences trust consistent creators. Teammates trust consistent performers. In every context, consistency communicates reliability and integrity. Another powerful aspect of consistency is its ability to reveal feedback. Sporadic effort hides progress, making it difficult to distinguish what works and what doesn't. But when a person engages regularly, patterns become visible. They can measure improvement, identify weaknesses, and adjust their methods accordingly. Consistency provides data. It turns subjective experience into measurable growth. Without consistency, feedback is scattered and unreliable. Emotionally, consistency offers stability. Results often fluctuate. Sometimes you succeed, sometimes you fail, but consistent effort creates a sense of control amidst uncertainty. It grounds individuals in the process rather than the outcome. Even on days when motivation fades, action continues. This steadiness builds confidence because it teaches that feelings are temporary, but commitment is not. The act of doing becomes a form of emotional regulation. In creative and professional pursuits, consistency often distinguishes professionals from amateurs. The amateur works when inspiration strikes. The professional works regardless. Inspiration becomes a byproduct of action rather than a prerequisite. The act of working consistently invites creativity. The mind, engaged daily, starts connecting ideas more fluidly. Innovation does not happen in sudden flashes, it grows through accumulated effort. Consistency also redefines success. It reminds individuals that mastery is not a single moment of achievement, but a continuous journey of refinement. Each day adds a layer of experience, shaping both skill and perspective. The greatest performers never stop practicing because they understand that mastery is not a destination. It is a relationship with the work itself. The joy comes not from completion, but from progress, from knowing that every day's effort contributes to something larger. Ultimately, consistency builds mastery because it aligns intention with action. It bridges the gap between what we wish to become and what we practice becoming. It teaches patience, discipline, humility, and endurance, the silent qualities behind every visible success. While others chase shortcuts, those who remain consistent become unstoppable. They understand that excellence is not achieved through intensity, but through continuity, through the quiet, repeated decision to keep showing up again and again until mastery is no longer a goal, but a natural state. Innovation thrives in environments where curiosity is stronger than fear. When people become overly attached to results, creativity begins to shrink. Every action starts to revolve around achieving a specific outcome rather than exploring new possibilities. Detachment from results allows individuals and teams to think freely, to take risks, and to challenge conventions. It removes the psychological weight of needing immediate success and replaces it with the freedom to experiment. True innovation, by its nature, cannot exist in a space controlled by perfectionism or fear of failure. Detachment does not mean indifference. It means working with full commitment while releasing the need to control how things unfold. When someone is detached from the outcome, their focus shifts entirely to the process, to learning, exploring, and improving. They become driven by curiosity instead of anxiety. This mindset creates an atmosphere where mistakes are not punishable but valuable. Every failed attempt becomes data, not defeat. The person or organization that learns to embrace uncertainty opens itself to possibilities that those obsessed with results will never see. In innovation, the biggest breakthroughs often come from unexpected directions. The inventors of the Post-it note were initially trying to create a powerful adhesive. Instead, they discovered a weak one that became revolutionary for entirely different reasons. Such discoveries only happen when the process is allowed to evolve without rigid expectations. Attachment to a single result blinds people to alternative successes. Detachment, in contrast, expands vision. It allows one to notice the value in what wasn't planned. Detachment also reduces performance pressure, which is one of the biggest barriers to creative thinking. When individuals feel that every idea must work perfectly, they censor themselves before even trying. Fear of failure silences innovation. But when the focus shifts from "this must succeed" to "let's see what we can learn," the creative mind feels safe to explore. This psychological safety is essential in any environment where innovation is expected. People who know they won't be judged for failure are more willing to take bold, unconventional steps. In scientific research, detachment is a core principle. Experiments are designed not to confirm a desired outcome, but to test a hypothesis. A failed experiment still contributes to knowledge because it reveals what doesn't work. The same principle applies to innovation in business or art. Detachment turns every outcome into insight. It transforms failure from a setback into progress. The ability to extract lessons from every result, good or bad, is what keeps innovation alive. Detachment also nurtures patience, a critical but often overlooked component of creativity. Many groundbreaking ideas take time to mature. People who chase instant validation tend to abandon their projects before they reach full potential. Detachment allows space for incubation, the period when ideas develop quietly in the background. The inventor who is not obsessed with quick results continues refining, testing, and adjusting. trusting that progress will come in its own time. Patience born from detachment keeps the creative process sustainable. Another important element of detachment is emotional clarity. When individuals identify too strongly with their outcomes, their sense of self becomes tied to success or failure. A failed project then feels like personal failure, and a successful one like personal validation. This emotional volatility creates stress and discouragement. Detachment separates identity from achievement. It allows individuals to see their work as an evolving process rather than a reflection of self-worth. With that clarity, they can evaluate ideas more objectively and make better decisions. In leadership, detachment plays a vital role in fostering innovation within teams. Leaders who demand specific outcomes at all costs stifle creativity. Their teams learn to play safe. But leaders who value experimentation create cultures where new ideas flourish. They encourage their teams to test, fail, and learn quickly. Detachment gives room for autonomy, and autonomy sparks ownership. When people feel trusted to explore, they produce ideas that no one could have predicted. The leader's role becomes not to control the result, but to cultivate an environment where the process can thrive. Detachment also enhances adaptability. In fast-changing industries, rigid attachment to one plan or expectation can lead to stagnation. Teams that practice detachment can pivot easily when conditions shift. They don't waste energy resisting change because they are not emotionally bound to a single vision of success. This flexibility allows them to respond creatively to challenges and discover opportunities hidden within obstacles. Innovation often emerges from this ability to adapt rather than from sticking to a fixed path. On an individual level, detachment fosters authenticity. When people stop working solely to impress or to meet external metrics, their work becomes more genuine. Artists create what resonates with their inner truth rather than what sells. Entrepreneurs build products that solve real problems instead of chasing trends. Authentic work resonates more deeply because it reflects sincerity. Detachment liberates expression by removing the pressure of constant judgment. The relationship between detachment and innovation can also be seen in mindfulness practices. When the mind is calm and detached from outcome-driven stress, creativity expands naturally. A relaxed mind connects ideas more fluidly and notices patterns that a tense, result-obsessed mind overlooks. Many creative breakthroughs occur in moments of detachment during a walk, a shower, or quiet reflection when the mind lets go of control and allows insight to emerge. Detachment, therefore, is not withdrawal from effort, but alignment with the natural flow of discovery. In every creative discipline, detachment transforms how individuals approach their work. It replaces the rigidity of control with the openness of curiosity. It nurtures patience, reduces fear, and fosters resilience. By letting go of the need to guarantee outcomes, innovators create the conditions where the extraordinary becomes possible. Detachment turns the act of creation into exploration, making every step, whether successful or not, a meaningful part of the journey toward discovery. Fulfillment is not found in the final applause, the award, or the achievement itself. It is found in the quiet satisfaction of doing meaningful work. The process, the act of creating, learning, and improving, holds more depth and emotion than any external validation ever could. When individuals learn to appreciate the journey rather than fixating on the destination, they experience a deeper sense of purpose. Results bring temporary pleasure, but the process provides lasting contentment because it is continuous, personal, and alive. The human mind is wired to seek progress, not perfection. Each step forward releases a sense of accomplishment, however small. The process of working towards something stimulates growth and engagement. When people are deeply involved in their craft, they enter a state of flow, a psychological condition where time dissolves and the mind becomes fully immersed in the task. This state is intrinsically rewarding. It doesn't depend on external outcomes. The joy of creation, of being fully present in the work itself, gives a form of fulfillment that results cannot replicate. In contrast, when focus rests only on results, satisfaction becomes conditional. The mind starts postponing happiness. I'll feel proud when I succeed, or I'll be satisfied when this goal is complete. But once that goal is reached, the feeling quickly fades and the chase begins again. This endless cycle keeps people striving yet rarely fulfilled. The process, however, offers contentment in the present. Each moment of genuine effort, learning, or discovery becomes its own reward. Fulfillment grows not from reaching milestones, but from realizing that every small action is part of something meaningful. The process also teaches humility. It reminds individuals that mastery takes time and that growth is nonlinear. Some days bring breakthroughs, others bring setbacks, yet each contributes to development. Those who respect the process understand that failure is not the opposite of success, but an essential part of it. The ability to find purpose in both success and struggle cultivates resilience. People who see value in every phase of the journey remain steady through highs and lows because their satisfaction comes from progress, not perfection. In artistry, fulfillment is most visible in the process of creation. A painter spends hours blending colors, reworking textures, adjusting light not for the applause that may come later, but for the quiet pleasure of seeing the vision unfold. Musicians rehearse endlessly, refining each note, often for moments that the audience will never hear. The fulfillment lies in that devotion, in the constant striving for expression. The final performance is merely a reflection of the thousands of unseen moments that gave it life. The same truth applies in science, entrepreneurship, or education. Scientists may spend years in research without immediate success, yet their fulfillment often comes from discovery itself, the excitement of learning something new. Entrepreneurs who enjoy the process of building, iterating, and solving problems remain passionate even when faced with failure. Teachers who find joy in the act of nurturing understanding in others experience fulfillment daily, regardless of test scores or recognition. Fulfillment thrives where engagement and meaning coexist. Focusing on the process also strengthens identity. When people attach their sense of worth solely to outcomes, they risk losing themselves when success fluctuates. But those who define themselves through the process, through how they work, learn, and grow, build a stable foundation of self-respect. They find meaning in effort itself. Their fulfillment is internal, independent of praise or criticism. This stability enables them to stay authentic because they no longer perform for approval, but for purpose. The process reveals depth that outcomes cannot capture. The hours spent learning, refining, and enduring shape not only skill but character. Through repetition and challenge, patience deepens, discipline matures, and gratitude grows. Fulfillment emerges from these transformations. It comes from witnessing personal evolution, from realizing how far one has come, not just how much one has achieved. The process becomes a mirror that reflects growth in ways that numbers, titles, or awards never can. When individuals fall in love with the process, they begin to value presence over pressure. They learn to appreciate the rhythm of effort without constantly projecting into the future. This mindset reduces anxiety and fosters peace. The act of working becomes meditative, a balance between challenge and enjoyment. The focus shifts from outcome-driven tension to process-driven engagement. As a result, productivity often increases naturally because work is no longer fueled by stress, but by curiosity and commitment. Fulfillment in the process also builds deeper relationships. When people collaborate for shared growth rather than competition, teamwork becomes genuine. They celebrate small wins together and learn from mistakes without blame. This environment of mutual learning creates trust, openness, and collective joy. Teams that value the process focus not just on results, but on the quality of their collaboration, the respect, creativity, and communication that make the journey meaningful. Even in personal life, fulfillment follows the same principle. A meaningful relationship, for example, is not fulfilling because of occasional grand gestures, but because of the consistent, everyday moments of connection, care, and understanding. Similarly, personal growth is not achieved through sudden transformation, but through continuous practice, reading, reflecting, and improving bit by bit. The process is where depth lies. Results are only snapshots of it. Fulfillment also deepens when individuals detach from constant comparison. When attention is fixed on results, it is easy to measure oneself against others' achievements, leading to frustration or envy. But when one is immersed in their own process, comparison loses power. Each person's journey becomes unique, defined by individual rhythm and purpose. The sense of fulfillment then becomes personal, authentic, and unshakable. The process teaches that life's richest moments are not always the loudest or most visible ones. They often occur in solitude, in the quiet hours of focus, in the practice that no one sees, in the small improvements that accumulate slowly. These moments build fulfillment because they are pure, unfiltered by judgment or expectation. They belong entirely to the person experiencing them. In this way, fulfillment is not a reward waiting at the finish line, but the essence of the path itself found in every thoughtful, committed step along the way.